what is it that the public is going to get from this? Well, at least so far, what we've heard from Rosemont is it's going to be jobs. When you look closely, and the number that we've heard the most is that there's going to be about 400 mining jobs. During the construction phase, if one looks closely at the appendices, it's about 200 construction workers. At least that's what they list in the report. But what Rosemont talks about is total jobs, where they use a multiplier. The basic argument is that when the miners get paid, those miners then are going to spend their income shopping at Walmart or the supermarket, or going out and eating at restaurants, or paying for daycare. So the income they earn will be recycled through the economy. A lot of it will get spent there. Those jobs, as I say down here, those mining jobs are going to pay between $50,000 and $60,000. So they're pretty well paid jobs. But when that income gets spent, a good deal of it gets spent in lower paid jobs. To the extent it gets paid to pay a doctor bill, that's a higher paid job, etc. But typically, those what are labeled induced jobs, jobs that are associated with the miner's spending, those jobs have lower levels of pay. In addition, what is being counted in this multiplier is the purchases that the mining company makes for fuel, for equipment, for tools, for electricity, natural gas, whatever energy source they're using. And that's what allows them to take the 406. These are the actual hires that the mining company will make. But then their model that their economist is manipulating estimates that a total of 2,100 jobs, 5 times as many jobs will be created. A big difference between what actually is going to be hired and a much larger number that's being estimated. The 196 construction workers gets turned into 3,600 person years, which is, the construction jobs are going to last 4 years. So they're projecting that an average of 900 jobs. So these 196 construction workers will lead to 900 jobs in total when they spend their income. Again, I've always told my students that if you find somebody using a multiplier over 3, they're wrong. It just doesn't work out that way. I've seen in some California settings people using multipliers of 10. When you take all the studies that people do with multipliers and put them all together, you have an economy many times the size of the economy we actually have. Everybody's exaggerating how important they are, so when you add them all up, you have our economy should be several times larger than it actually is. This multiplying has become a cottage industry for public relations, for people who want to present themselves as more important than their direct activities are actually responsible. One of the startling things is that in some of the secondary jobs associated with the mining company making purchases is that they have people in manufacturing in Pima County getting paid $300,000 a year. Strangely enough, a part of that is because they include benefits, which in Pima County in 2008 across all jobs added about 23%. Now most of us, when we estimate our pay, we don't even know what the benefits are. I mean, we don't know what the vacation days are worth. Often we don't know what our employer is contributing to our health insurance. We don't know what they're paying for unemployment compensation, what their share of that is. We don't know what they're paying into Social Security, what that share is. So adding those in to talk about the average pay There may be reasons to do that when you're doing economic analysis, but when you're trying to explain jobs and pay levels to people, it's a serious exaggeration to throw those things in, because it makes the numbers non-comparable. Manufacturing in the Pima County, when you add in the benefits, does come out to be a startlingly high number, but nowhere near the $300,000. And you can see retail trade, one of the lowest paid jobs in Pima County or anywhere else in the United States, is being assumed to pay $54,000 and on down. I have no idea where these huge numbers came from, but the net result was that these secondary jobs, these multiplier jobs, rather than have a lower income, actually those people are going to get paid more than the miners. It makes no sense. Something's wrong with the analysis. If we ask how important 400 jobs, as several people today said, well, you're acting as if 400 jobs isn't important. We need jobs. 400 jobs is a lot of jobs. Well, it is a lot of jobs. And one job is an important job for somebody who doesn't have the job. But if we ask, what's that going to contribute to the long-run trajectory of the Pima County economy? Those 406 jobs represent 0.08% of all jobs in Pima County. It represents 1 out of every 1,300 jobs. I'm not saying it's insignificant, but it's not going to turn the Pima County economy, the greater Tucson area economy, around. Over the last 40 years, Pima County's been adding about 10,000 new jobs a year. The University of Arizona economists are projecting that next year job growth is going to return again in Pima County, and it should be adding 7,300 jobs a year, moving back towards the long-run trend. The 400 jobs represents 2 weeks of normal job growth in the greater Tucson economy. The impact would be as if job growth paused for 2 weeks and then continued as usual. It's not something that anybody, except the people who got the jobs, of course, would notice. It's not going to have an impact on the trajectory of the economy. I compare the direct jobs associated with Rosemont with the travel industry jobs in Pima County. There's almost 23,000 travel industry jobs. The travel industry is much more modest in the multiplier they use. They use 1.5 instead of 5.2. So my students will not be suspicious of the multiplier here. Those jobs, the direct jobs, represent a little over 4% of all county jobs. If we take the multiplier into account, almost 7%. Even if we accept the multiplier and believe that the Rosemont mine directly and indirectly is going to produce 2,100 jobs, it still represents less than 1%, less than half of 1% of the jobs in the county. The message to me is that we want to be very careful here. Modest damage to the travel industry, to the attractiveness of the area to new businesses, the attractiveness to new working age residents, the attractiveness to retirees. Just very slight damage to that attractiveness, to those amenities, would entirely wipe out these job gains with or without the multiplier. So we want to be very careful, and that's the reason that the Tucson Blueprint focused on creating jobs that were consistent and did not threaten the existing strengths of the Tucson area economy. That's the reason for pushing aerospace, medical technology, partnerships with the University of Arizona, etc., trying to find good, high-paid manufacturing, information industry jobs that didn't threaten the strengths that make the Tucson area an attractive place. That's not the Rosemont mine, and that's why since it's inconsistent with protecting the strengths that the area has, I think we have to proceed very, very cautiously, or we're going to see a net loss to the economy.